Justin Jefferson has signed a record-shattering contract with the Minnesota Vikings. 4-year, $140 million contract extension that includes $110 million guaranteed and makes him not only the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history, but the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Jefferson's deal includes $88.743 million due at signing. So he has an $88.7 million signing bonus, effectively. The highest non-quarterback guarantee at signing in NFL history. Not a signing bonus, guaranteed at signing. Resets the wide receiver market.
Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, this coincides with the Vikings moving on from Kirk Cousins and going with the rookie quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. So it's like and it's a 4-year deal, right in line with the 4 years that J.J. McCarthy is extremely cost-effective here. So it's, I think, a smart move by the Vikings to lock him up, and the impact of the true number one wide receiver. The league has been trending this way for a while now, that it's just receiver, right? If you don't have an elite quarterback, the next best position to pay is the elite wide receiver. As far as on-field value, I think they clearly bring the next most on-field value behind the quarterback. And then it's a matter of, from a team building standpoint, do you want to invest $35 million per year in this one position? And, that's where things are trending. So huge contract here for Jefferson.
Yeah. Schefter says there were multiple teams this offseason that inquired about trading for Justin Jefferson. The Vikings let each one of them know in no uncertain terms that they had zero intention of trading Jefferson. And then the conversations ended right then and there.
Is that a shot? Is that a shot at Mike Florio, who was suggesting that the Justin Jefferson – that they were going to draft Malik Neighbors and trade Justin Jefferson?
I mean, maybe. I think it's a shot at everybody that's been saying, trade talks, blah, blah, blah.
No. We're trying to stir it up. I like insider jabs. I like when the insiders take jabs at each other.
So we spent a lot of the show on Thursday with Trevor talking about how the longer you wait to get a deal done in terms of the team, the worse the number ends up being, right? You just get it done the sooner you can, because the number is only going up, right? Every contract that's signed between you starting negotiations with a player and finishing negotiations with a player only increases the number. You are never going to get it cheaper by arguing it out. Schefter says the day before last season kicked off, remember, he got hurt last season, missed a chunk of time. Like, if you're looking at last year, it probably didn't help Jefferson's cause on the field, right? The day before last season kicked off, Justin Jefferson turned down a deal that would have paid him over $28 million per season, right? So he's gone from 28 to 35 in a year where he got hurt and didn't necessarily dramatically enhance his value on the field. Jefferson bet on himself, and it paid off. 4-year extension, 35 a season. So I don't know where they would have gotten that deal done. They turned down 28. He signed 35 now. What would the number have been before the season that would have got him to sign on the dotted line?
That was before they knew what they were doing with Cousins.
Right, but there's $7 million a year in wiggle room there that the Vikings potentially could have bridged to get that cheaper had they got him locked up before. It's just this fascinating dynamic now, which makes it like, I don't know if it's sort of traditionally all the leverage is with the teams, right? And what is the player really going to do? But this is putting leverage back in the hands of players. Like, the longer they string it out, the more expensive the deal gets for teams. So you can probably get them to sign a pretty chunky deal right on.
Is Jamar Chase next? Where's he?
Yeah. I mean, he's a year after, right? But he's probably next in line.
So you got A.J. Brown at $32 million a year. Amon-Ra St. Brown, just over 30. Tyreek Hill at 30. Jalen Waddle just got to 28.25. I mean, Devontae Adams is way down at 28 now.
On a deal, that was the outlier.
He was like $7 million higher than anyone else at the time, right?
Yeah.
This thing's accelerating. And Nuke Hopkins used to be at 26 or 27, and he was well above everyone else.
I mean, where does that put Jefferson among quarterbacks, right? In terms of average per year, it's up. It's
probably
half,
50,
right?
If we're just looking at APY,
yeah. I mean,
it's between Baker Mayfield and Derek Carr,
right? So he's now getting a mid-tier quarterback
right
contract.
around 15. And so it is interesting, right? Because we've done shows about this before, Sam, where it's like, all right, how many QBs do you choose
before you get to the first?
Before you get to either the head coach,
right,
or the first wide receiver, right? How many impact QBs are there? And we always land at like 8, right? There's 8 quarterbacks that you take before you take your Justin Jefferson, your Jamar Chase, and now you're talking about we're going to pay him the equivalent of what a perfect range, right? Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith.
Yeah.
That's the range. That's the range of guys where it's like the receiver might have as big of an impact on the rookie quarterback, a J.J. McCarthy or anyone else that's on a first-year contract as signing this quarterback like a Baker Mayfield, a Geno Smith, a Derek Carr, who play at a level that's like fringe playoff, not really making a playoff run, but you might get on the green type of thing. So I think the market's kind of
it's in the right place,
the right spot.
Yeah, I think it is about the number one. It's the right player for that deal, right? Like maybe Aaron Donald would have been that player in previous years. Now, if you're like, who's the first NFL player you take after the quarterbacks in this, mythical redraft of football? It probably is Justin Jefferson. Like he's the guy you're grabbing next. Number 2, the contract range is probably landing in the right spot. You take all the transcendent quarterbacks, and then once you get to the guys that aren't necessarily raising the level of everybody around them, you take the first special guy at some other position, which is Justin Jefferson. So I think the NFL is actually, the market is ending up in the right spot, both in terms of the player and the value. And, for the I think this is a good deal for both sides, right? Jefferson gets his genuinely outlier contract, resets the market, all those terms. He gets paid. And number 2, the Vikings lock up. Like my approach for this is always, there's a level of special that you just don't trade those players away, right? There are other guys where, okay, he's really good, but he's not all-time special. We can trade them away and, restart and use the collateral to rebuild and all those kinds of things. When you find a guy like Justin Jefferson, like that is the whole point of the draft. You identify and you completely change everything with this one guy. Never trade those guys away. Never. Just give them the contract, whatever it takes. Keep them in place. You can take on, a certain number of those crazy contracts, even if it is best paid X of all time. Like you have one of those.
Yeah, it changes in 2 years.
Right. Yeah, it does. And you've got at least one of those in the bank, right? The salary cap is structured in such that you can always make that one deal happen, particularly when you have a quarterback on the rookie contract. So makes sense for both sides. They finally get it done. And I think it's a perfect deal for both of them.
So I mentioned Jamar Chase, but all eyes now on CeeDee Lamb, same draft class,
yes.
Dallas Cowboys.
So this is a perfect example, right?
They're waiting.
Yeah, and it's only going up.
They've waited on Dak. They're going to have a QB. The Cowboys, of course, are going to have a QB and a receiver looking to have the top of the market deal.
And this is the worst contract they could have hit for Dallas's perspective in terms of CeeDee Lamb. Whatever about how much Jalen Waddle's deal inflated the market, I mean, this literally reset it to a different place. Like this is the equivalent of that Devontae Adams deal from a few years ago where nobody wanted to get a wide receiver signed for a while after that because the market was seen as like the agent looks at that and goes, hey, market just got reset. Change all, like rub out the whiteboard. We're in a new set of math here. Let's restart from there. And the NFL was like, no. That's an outlier deal. We ignore that one. We're still working from the old math. This is the reset.